Namaskar. Welcome to another episode of Editorial. Zohran Mamdani is the new mayor of New York City. Now, the question that we ask tonight is Donald Trump responsible for Mamdani's election? Is Donald Trump directly or indirectly responsible to ensure that Zohran Mamdani got elected as the mayor of New York? Let's discuss this. Let's get right into the show. So, Zohran becoming the mayor of New York City is a very interesting episode. It's a very interesting story. You know why? Because nobody knew Zohran 2020, 23, 24 and all. Nobody actually knew Zohran Mamdani outside of his neighborhood. All of a sudden, 24, he's shot to fame, and 25, he's the mayor of New York City.
The sun may have set over our city this evening, but as Eugene Debs once said, I can see the dawn of a better day for humanity. For as long as we can remember, the working people of New York have been told by the wealthy and the well-connected that power does not belong in their hands. Fingers bruised from lifting boxes on the warehouse floor, palms calloused from delivery bike handlebars, knuckles scarred with kitchen burns. These are not hands that have been allowed to hold power. And yet over the last 12 months, you have dared to reach for something greater.
Now, let us first understand why is mayor of New York City so important. Pehli baat to, let us understand the fact that mayor in United States is very different to mayor in India, Indian cities. A mayor in United States is like a chief minister of that particular city. He or she has got a lot of including that of police, including that of Department of Fire, including that of Department of Education, Sanitation, House Prevention and Development, so on and so forth. So that is the power that the New York mayor has. And let us talk about New York mayor per se, and whatever powers that and whatever responsibility that Zohran is going to enjoy starting 1st of January 2026 is the New York mayor is the chief executive of the city under the city charter. Like I told you, the New York mayor oversees close to 3,25,000 employees, and a 110 billion plus budget is under his belt. He controls 110 billion budget. He controls 45 city agencies, but must work with the city council. While he controls 45 city agencies, he has to work with city council. He coordinates public safety, housing, transport, emergency management, and so on and so forth. So he, like I told you, is just like another chief minister of a particular state, and he balances local policies with state and federal oversight. This is it. All powerful of New York City. Now, why is New York City so important? You see, New York is not the capital. New York City is not the capital of United States of America. It is Washington, D.C. But New York is known as the capital city of the world. I'll give you some data about New York before we get into Zohran and how he won the election. The population of New York as of 2024 is 84,78,072. This is the population of New York. The population has actually degrown by around 2%, 24. The GDP, the 2023 GDP of New York is 1,286 billion US dollars. 1,286 billion US dollars. You see, Pakistan's GDP is approximately 373 billion US dollars. Sri Lanka's GDP is 98.96 billion US dollars. Bangladesh's GDP is around 450.12 billion US dollars. But New York City alone is 1,286 billion US dollars. Bigger than most of the countries we know. Job growth has been good in New York. It has grown by 2.8%, and median and average household income recorded in 2023 in New York is 75,000 US dollars, and a home price, cost of purchasing a home in New York is average around 6,75,000 US dollars. And interestingly, the population that shares 25 plus age and graduates is around 42.6%. So they have a large population of young, educated people in New York. They have one of the largest GDPs in the world in terms of a city. They have one of the largest GDPs, which is bigger than, like I told you, a lot of countries in the world. And possibly a lot of rich people stay there. $75,000 is their average income. This is New York. Like I told you, it is called as the capital of the world. Now, it is also said that New York is a melting point of civilization. Almost, if you stand in Madison Square Garden, they say that you can see people of every race, country walking around. Almost the whole world, everybody, every race, every community, every continent is represented in New York. So that's what New York is all about. So that's why New York is important. So now, since we understood New York, and now since we understood the fact that a New York mayor is known as, the second most powerful job in the United States after the president, now let us come to Zohran Mamdani. Zohran Mamdani is a very interesting life. He had a very interesting life because he was born in Uganda. Both Indian parents, both are Indian. His father is Indian. His father's name is Mahmood Mamdani. He is our Mumbaikar. He was a Mumbaikar, born in Mumbai, 23rd April 1946. Mother, very famous filmmaker, and born in Odisha, 15th October 1957. Her name is Meera Nair. So he was the son of Meera Nair and Muhammad Mamdani, both Indians. Now, he was born in Uganda. From Uganda, he migrated to South Africa. And from South Africa, he migrated to United States. So, born to an Indian parent, born in North Africa, moved to South Africa, and now lives in United States of America, and today the mayor of New York City. Now, let us understand who voted for him, who actually casted their vote for him. This also is very interesting. You see, there were two major players. One was Zohran Mamdani, a Democrat. The second, his biggest competition was not a Republican. His biggest competition was Andrew M. Cuomo, who was an independent candidate. Third was Curtis Sliwa, who was a Republican. And fourth, of course, who hardly got any vote, was Eric Adams, who got 0.3% vote. Now, Zohran Mamdani won with 50.4% vote. His next best, that is Andrew M. Cuomo, who again, like I told you, was an independent, got 41.6% vote. Curtis Sliwa, Republican, got 7.1% vote. And like I told you, the fourth gentleman, Eric Adams, hardly got 0.3% vote. So this is how the voting happened. Now, for Democrats, winning New York was very important. For Democrats, also winning Indian hearts was very important. Zohran Mamdani, amongst a lot of other things, was also supposed to win Indian and Asian hearts. This was, like I told you, very, very important for Democrats. And lo and behold, he did that. Now, let us understand who voted for Zohran Mamdani. Now, Zohran Mamdani got the maximum vote from age group of 18 to 44. 18 to 44 voted him max. In fact, 18 to 29, 78% voted for Zohran. 30 to 44 age group, 66% voted for Zohran. 45 to 64 age group, 43% voted for Zohran. And 65 plus, 36% voted for Zohran. So the youngsters, that is, like I told you, 18 to 44 voted for Zohran. Now, household income, middle class, that is 30,000 to 300,000 household income voted for Zohran. So he was voted by the middle class, the upper middle class. Votes went to Zohran. And by race, 46% of whites voted for Zohran, 55% of blacks voted for Zohran, 49% of Hispanics voted for Zohran, 51% of Asians voted for Zohran, and 61% of others voted for Zohran. So Zohran got votes from the youth, that is 18 to 44. Zohran got votes from the middle class to the upper middle class. Zohran got votes from Asians, and Zohran got votes from the blacks. So this is broadly the path which led to Zohran's victory. This is what it is. Now let us come to some salient features and some outcome of this particular victory. First and foremost is, I think America sent a clear message to Trump. You see, Zohran was everything that Trump was against. Everything. Zohran was a Muslim, Zohran was an immigrant, and Zohran was a Democrat. Three things that Trump is absolutely against. And Zohran was all of this. The fact remains that today, to say that Zohran was also, at least from an Indian heritage, that too is not something now seen as favorable in Trump's eyes. So Zohran was everything that Trump didn't like.
But the communists, Marxists, socialists, and globalists had their chance, and they delivered nothing but disaster. And now let's see how a communist does in New York. We're going to see how that works out.
And Trump went out of his way to pull down Zohran, to defeat Zohran, to even say that he will be thrown out of America, he will be deported from America, and all of that he did.
Substantially. We're going to be watching that very carefully, and a lot of people are saying he's here illegally. We're going to look at everything, and ideally he's going to turn out to be much less than a communist. But right now he's a communist. That's not a socialist. I've always said we will not have socialism in this country. In the speeches, I said, well, what? They skipped socialism, and you got a lot of them like that.
This verdict is directly proportional to the fact that Trump didn't want him to be the mayor. Trump was okay with anybody else being the mayor, but not him. And Trump tried his best to ensure that Zohran doesn't become the mayor. Every time Trump went against him, the people of New York went for him. They voted out a Republican. The Republican got 7.1% vote. The number two is not a Republican, it's an independent who got 41.6% vote. So the fact remains that people voted an independent but didn't vote a Republican. And possibly the reason for that is definitely that people voted against Trump. But Zohran stood his ground, he won. And that, I think, was a tight slap on Donald Trump.
So Donald Trump, since I know you're watching, I have 4 words for you. Turn the volume up. We will hold bad landlords to account because the Donald Trumps of our city have grown far too comfortable taking advantage of their tenants. We will put an end to the culture of corruption that has allowed billionaires like Trump to evade taxation and exploit tax breaks. We will stand alongside unions and expand labor protections because we know, just as Donald Trump does, that when working people have ironclad rights, the bosses who seek to extort them become very small indeed. New York will remain a city of immigrants, a city built by immigrants, powered by immigrants, and as of tonight, led by an immigrant. So hear me, President Trump, when I say this. To get to any of us, you will have to get through all of us.
Donald Trump will have to kind of review his strategy now. Donald Trump can't just wish away Zohran anymore. Zohran is going to cause, at least be a voice of dissent, at least be a strong opposition to almost every campaign that Trump wants to initiate. And people are going to listen to him. That is point number one. Point number two is Zohran cannot be the president of the United States of America ever, unless and until they change their constitution, which I doubt they will. He cannot be the president of America ever for the simple reason that he is not born in America. So at least that part is for sure. But that doesn't mean that he can't be more and more powerful or even the kingmaker as far as America is concerned. So that's point number two. Point number three is our good prime minister. Our good prime minister also may not be very happy about what has happened for the simple reason that Zohran has always been somebody who was not so friendly or not so supportive of Narendra Modi. In fact, he has not missed any opportunity to criticize Mr. Narendra Modi.
President Narendra Modi, and this will go to you first.
Come on.
Lander of India.
I was supposed to get Netanyahu and he was supposed to get Modi. Didn't you even get the memo?
You all get all of them, so.
Modi is holding a rally in Madison Square Garden. He wants to hold a joint press conference with you afterwards, reaffirming the strong bond between India and New York. Do you agree to the event?
No.
All right, Mr. Stringer
No.
and Mr. Mamdani.
No.
So I've been critical of Mr. Modi. And I've been critical of Mr. Modi because of the vision that I grew up with was of an India that was pluralistic, an India where everyone belonged, no matter their religion. And my critique has been of Mr. Modi and the BJP political party for their vision of an India that only has room for certain kinds of Indians. And it's part of a belief that pluralism is something to be celebrated, something to be strived for.
So next time when Narendra Modi goes to New York, he may not get the Madison Square Garden for himself. He may not get that event and event management and Indian diaspora there dancing to his tune and all that. All that may not happen. Zohran may not allow that. So that is something that definitely Mr. Narendra Modi will be mindful of. The third issue is as far as India is concerned. You see, to some extent, Zohran is good for India. Zohran is good for India is because he will be a voice of dissent. Like I told you, he will kind of go against most of the policies that Trump proposes. And by the looks of it, most of the policies that Trump currently proposes are against India. So to that extent, there are chances that he may support India there. But to expect that he is going to be some messiah for India or expecting that he is going to help India and all that is I think is just a figment of people's imagination. He is not going to do anything of that sort. Like I told you about Kamala Harris. Had Kamala Harris been the president, nothing would have been different. It would have been better than what Trump is. Things would have been far, far better than what Trump currently is. But to expect that they will work for India or they will help India or they'll go out of the way to serve India and all that won't happen, and it will not happen with Zohran either. The third thing, a lot of Indian, especially the right-wingers, call Zohran a person who supports Islamists and to some extent support Islamic terrorists and all of that in Middle East. All of that has been spoken about Zohran. Okay, and that is why a lot of right-wingers say that, Zohran was a wrong choice. Zohran is going to convert New York into a London, like what happened with Sadiq Khan, the mayor of London.
No matter the attacks, I will not move on those principles. And I tell you, brothers and sisters of this masjid, that we have an opportunity, starting tomorrow for early voting until Election Day on June 24th, an opportunity to show that New Yorkers want that consistency. They want those principles. They want a belief in humanity. And alhamdulillah, in this city we have 1 million Muslims. 200,000 of us are registered as Democrats. But in the last election, only 7% of us voted. Now, I will not judge anyone in our community because often it feels like there's not much to vote for. But this year we have an opportunity. We have an opportunity. And I can tell you, I began this race at 1%, and today I am just 2% away from Andrew Cuomo, 2% away from City Hall, 2% away from making history. And that is why every day a new Republican billionaire puts $1 million into this race to attack me. But I know that I have something they do not have, which is the support of people across this city. So I ask you to tell everyone in your life that this election is here, to tell them what's on the ballot, and to tell them that we as Muslims deserve what every other community deserves: equality and respect. But we know that in this city and in this country, we are not going to be given those things. We have to win those things. And one way we win them is at the ballot box. So I ask you, when you go and vote, remember, it is our opportunity to show that Muslims don't just belong in New York City. We belong in City Hall too. Thank you so much.
But you see, what is interesting and what is something that we all should know, that a lot of Muslims are quite happy that he is a Muslim and he has now become the mayor of New York. But a lot of Muslims also have doubts. A lot of Muslims currently say that, listen, we found him to talk about Muslim, talk about Islam, talk about rights of Muslims and all, only when he stood for the election. Before, we have never seen him talk about Islam, talk about Muslims. Before I go to my conclusion, I made a statement that it is very important for Democrats to win Indian hearts. It is very important for Democrats to win Asian hearts, specifically Indian hearts, because our diaspora is the biggest. That was seen clearly with this speech of Zohran.
Standing before you, I think of the words of Jawaharlal Nehru. A moment comes but rarely in history when we step out from the old to the new, when an age ends and when the soul of a nation long suppressed finds utterance. Tonight we have stepped out from the old into the new.
Zohran talking about Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru and quoting him has actually touched a lot of Indian hearts. So it is very clear that one of the key tasks assigned to Zohran by Democrats would be to recapture the Indian hearts, to get into the Asian diaspora, especially the Indian diaspora. That's something that Zohran will be attempting in his tenure. So to conclude, Zohran's win, to my mind, is good. Good because his win will keep the far right of America in control. People like Trump, who thought that he could rule the world, who thought he was all-powerful, who thought that there is nobody who is more powerful than he is. He thought that America would go the way he thought America should. All this will be under check. Zohran will be a fantastic balancing act. And that, I think, is good for America, good for the world, and also good for India. So to that extent, Zohran is a good choice. But otherwise, I think whoever is the mayor of New York or Washington or whichever city, it is good for America. There won't be much of a difference to India per se. More or less, everything is the same for India. So that's my take and that's my point of view. Before I end, I request you, please subscribe to our channel. Please join our channel if you can. Contribute to our channel. It'll help. And join me 10 o'clock tomorrow. Namaskar.